It is Thursday, August 27, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Dan Miller, and I'm looking for the gap in the defensive line today.
This is Buck Reynolds.
I'm Jules Sterling.
And I'm Elena Rossi. We have a great show for you today.
Yesterday, we covered U.S.-Canada trade war, southern border cabotage crackdown, and Strait of Hormuz shipping crisis.
It really is, Dan. I mean, we're seeing huge shifts in how the big players are actually trying to insulate themselves from all that chaos we talked about yesterday. So, starting off in the tech world, Descartes just dropped $100 million in cash to acquire TIE Software.
Cash is king in this market, isn't it?
Absolutely. They aren't just buying another TMS. TIE has new autonomous AI voice agents. These agents handle driver check-ins and record data immediately. No human is needed. Well, that is the goal, regardless.
Great. Another robot to talk to when I'm just trying to get a gate code. The thing is, can that AI smell a fuel leak? Probably not.
Bottom line, Buck, they aren't looking at fuel leaks. They're looking at transactional context. Descartes wants the data moat. They're folding TIE's execution data into their global logistics network. It's a land grab for information, right?
Actually, Dan, it's more like a legal shield. If the AI handles the routine check-ins, it creates a standardized audit trail that's harder to rip apart in court than a frantic phone call transcript.
True. And speaking of streamlining, Advance Auto Parts is doing a total blitz on their carrier list. CEO Shane O'Kelly said they're rebidding everything and moving to 70% fewer carriers.
Whoa, that's a massive roster cut.
I know. They're focused on their market hubs, these 36,000 square foot mini DCs. They want 40-minute delivery times for the pros, and you can't do that with a bloated carrier list.
It's a consolidation of risk. Fewer partners, tighter control. But if one of those few carriers fails, the entire hub and spoke system for that region collapses. If I may, we should look at how the global arteries are shifting while these domestic companies consolidate. The Arctic is no longer a science project. It's a bypass.
Oh, you mean the South Korea thing?
Exactly. The Panstar Acro, a Korean container ship, just left Busan for the Northern Sea route. It's heading to the UK and Poland along the Russian coast.
Sailing past Kamchatka in a box ship? That's high-stakes gambling right there.
Actually, Buck, it cuts 10 days off the transit compared to the Suez. And with the Strait of Hormuz seeing a 90% decline in traffic due to the conflict we mentioned yesterday, 7,000 kilometers of saved travel is worth the frostbite.
It's like finding a shortcut through the parking lot to beat the stadium traffic. Look, if the Middle East is closed for business, the ice is the only play left for the heavy hitters like Hyundai and Samsung.
But what about the insurance? I mean, right? Isn't that a nightmare?
Jules, insurance is the story of the year, and not just in the Arctic. The TD Cowen report that just dropped is, well, it's sobering. Freight broker insurance is going ballistic.
Ballistic? How bad are we talking here?
We're talking triple-digit increases for excess liability. The Leip versus Lupus Superior outcome, that C.H. Robinson matter, reached $604 million. The panel concluded that since the agent provided a phone tool the operator utilized, a loaned staff connection existed.
That is terrifying for my retail accounts. If the app equals liability, every tech-forward brokerage is a target.
It's a total defensive breakdown. If you can't use tech to track a load without becoming the driver's legal employer, the whole automated brokerage model is in the red zone without a kicker.
You see, this is why I always say complacency is the precursor to catastrophe. If you haven't audited your indemnity clauses by Monday, you're basically uninsured in the eyes of a Dallas jury.
You know, before we dive into the fuel mess, we should mention that strategic logistics really does require some serious engineering behind the scenes.
For sure. And look, this show is actually powered by the stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
Right. If you want to support the architect behind the code, you should definitely visit our Patreon at patreon.com/neuralnetworkmedia. You can get a free trial and even access our daily briefing PDF, which, is a lifesaver when you're trying to keep track of these crazy rate shifts.
Get on that. It's the playbook you need to stay in the game. Okay, turning back to the regulatory side. Did you guys see the beef proclamation?
The what?
President Trump just issued an emergency waiver on beef tariffs. 300,000 metric tons of lean beef trimmings are coming in duty-free over the next 90 days.
They're trying to stop the bleeding on food inflation. The herd is at a 75-year low because of the droughts. $6.89 a pound for ground beef is, unsustainable.
I'm seeing this hit the reefer market hard already. With JBS and Tyson closing plants in the Eastern Corn Belt, we're seeing cattle being trucked incredible distances to the west.
Long-haul livestock? That's a specialized beast. You can't just throw beef in a dry van and call it a day. The ventilation requirements alone are a maintenance headache. Now it's time for From the Sleeper Cab, our Thursday segment where we get real about the actual nuts and bolts of life on the asphalt. Here's the deal. The CVSA just released the May 2026 Roadcheck results. It's a wake-up call. Over 3,000 drivers were sidelined in 72 hours. Now get this. The vehicle out-of-service rate improved to 19%. However, driver violations continue to climb.
Wait, so the trucks are better, but the drivers are worse?
Not worse, just more scrutinized. The thing is, they found 146 guys messing with their ELDs. Creative logging will get you parked faster than a flat tire these days. And speaking of tires, they were still 21% of all vehicle failures.
ELD tampering is a digital safety violation that I simply cannot ignore. It's an engineering embarrassment when we have the tech to stay compliant and people still try to cheat the clock.
My thing is, the maintenance intervals are getting stretched because everything costs more. If you're running the Northeast right now, that wildfire smoke is clogging filters at twice the normal rate. We're calling it smoke interval maintenance. You got to check those air filters with your own eyes, not just wait for a dash light.
It's like trying to play a game with a clogged visor. You can't see the field, you can't make the play.
Exactly. And look, if you're a driver, stop treating the ELD like a suggestion. That mark stays on your record forever now. From the sleeper cab, that's a wrap. But look, the biggest storm isn't even the DOT right now. It's the pump. I mean, here's the play. Diesel stockpiles are at 103 million barrels. That is the lowest August level since 1982.
1982? I was barely in grade school.
I was already shifting gears, Dan. But seriously, we are 14% below the 5-year average. The crack spread, what refiners make off a barrel, hit $100 recently. That's why diesel is pushing $6 in some spots, while crude is actually softening.
It's so counterintuitive. Crude goes down, diesel stays up. My retail clients are losing their minds over the surcharges.
It's because the refiners are redlining at 97% capacity, and they still can't keep up. Russia's export ban and the Ukraine drone strikes on their refineries have pulled 5 million barrels a day off the global map. We are running on fumes right as the harvest hits.
And look at the intermodal numbers. AAR says intermodal is up 5% this week. Shippers are jumping from road to rail like they're trying to catch the last bus out of town.
Well, 30% savings. If you can save 30% by moving to rail because the fuel efficiency is better, you'd be crazy not to pivot, right?
If the service levels hold. But we all know the rail networks aren't exactly known for their ballroom dance-like precision. If the ports cool down and the rail fills up, we're just trading one bottleneck for another.
My thing is, if you're an owner-operator and you aren't getting at least 61 cents a mile on that fuel surcharge, you're paying the broker for the privilege of hauling their freight. You gotta know your math, or the pump will eat you alive.
Bottom line, the market is in a massive transition. Between the diesel wall, the Arctic bypass, and the leadership vacuum at the ATA with Chris Spear stepping down abruptly, it's a brand new league.
Spear's departure was so weird. Effective immediately? After a decade?
It signals a shift in advocacy. The combative style might be losing its edge against the new regulatory wave. We need diplomats now, not just lobbyists.
Well, that's all for today's High Road. We covered the tech land grab, the fuel crunch, and why you should probably check your air filters twice today. Stay in the green, folks.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Until next time.
Keep those wheels turning and the data churning.